Hello, Year 6, and welcome back to session 2 on our vocabulary. So, for this, we're going to read a text, and the vocabulary questions are just 12A. Now, I know a lot of you read at home, so I was just wondering if you are able to actually add the vipers that we'll be practicing into your own books. So, this will be a task for you to do at home if you can. So, what we're going to do is look at the text and answer 12A first of all. So this is our text here. So what we're going to do is make sure that we have this text printed off. So I'm going to give you just a bit of time just to pause the video here, and then we will get into reading the text. So if you pause the video here, if you haven't printed off this text, and go print it off. Right, perfect. So you should have your text in front of you. Now, what we're going to do, because we are only answering 12A of this text, we aren't going to read the whole text because that will be too much time for us, and we don't want to waste all our time on this when we've got another text to read. So we are just going to read these two top paragraphs here, the one starting with Dawn and the one starting with the white giraffe. So, Dawn was casting spun gold threads across a rosy sky over the Soy Bonner Game Reserve as Martine Allen took a last look around to ensure they weren't any witnesses. She leaned forward like a jockey on the track, wound her fingers through a silver mane, and cried, "Go, Jemmy, go!" The white giraffe sprang forward so suddenly that she was almost unseated, but she recovered and, wrapping her arms around his neck, quickly adjusted to the familiar rhythm of Jemmy's rocking horse stride. They swept past the dam and a herd of bubble-blowing hippos, past a flock of startled egrets lifting from the tree like white glitter, and onto the open savannah plain. An early morning African chorus of doves, crickets, and go-away birds provided a soundtrack. So now we're going to go into the next slide. So our question 12A, the text begins with Martine going out to ride her giraffe, and the answers are in the early morning, at midday, in the late afternoon, and at night. So we are only going to circle one of these answers, and what we're going to do is read through the question just one more time. The text begins with Martine going out to ride her giraffe. So with your text in front of you, if you look at those first two paragraphs and you can highlight or annotate anything on that, that will show to you that what the answer is. So if you just give yourself a couple of minutes, take your time, and we will come back to the video then. So we're just going to pause the video now and go back. Perfect. So you should have paused the video and answered 12A as the question from the text we just read. And the answer is in the early morning. So you should have found this in the text, an early morning or in the early morning. So that was where it was in one of those top two paragraphs, and that will describe the time of day that the question, was looking for. A lot of mistakes, a lot of stumbling from me today. Right, so for the next bit, we're going to do a text again, do a different text. So make sure we got this one printed out, and we're going to read questions 23, 25, 27, 29, 30, and 31. Sounds a lot, but I know you guys can smash it. So let's have a look at them together, and then we can go through, answer these questions, take our time, and do some reading. So this here is our text. So again, I'm just going to pause the video and make sure that you've got this all printed out. So just pause the video and print this out for me, please. So welcome back. So you should have this text in front of you. So make sure you can also have some highlighters or a different color pen so you can annotate anything on this that you think could be useful. So I will start reading this. The dodo was first sighted around 1600 on an island in the Indian Ocean. It was extinct by 1680. Since the phrase dead as a dodo has been used to describe something which is lifeless or has disappeared from the world completely, because of its rapid disappearance, a number of myths developed about the dodo. For example, That it was fat, silly creature that brought its fate upon itself. But what is the truth about the dodo? For thousands of years, the island of Mauritius was a paradise. It was spat out of the ocean floor by an underwater volcano 8 million years ago. With warm sun, plentiful food, and no predators to speak of, the isolated island became a haven for a variety of unusual species, including reptiles and flightless birds. Then, in 1598, humans descended on this paradise, accompanied by their own animals, dogs, goats, cats, and a fair number of rats. Curious and unafraid, the animals of Mauritius offered themselves up for slaughter, and just within a few decades, much of the island's unique wildlife had been wiped out forever. One of the victims was a large flightless relative of the pigeon. The island's invaders started to call the bird the dodo, which meant silly bird. Although the dodo was, sorry, I'll start that sentence again. Although the dodo was hunted for food, this was not the main reason it died out. It is more likely that having never faced predators before and unable to fly, the adult bird fell prey to dogs and cats. Meanwhile, their eggs and chicks, defenseless in their nests on the ground, were easy picking for the rats. Less than 100 years after man's arrival, the dodo, which had once numbered in hundreds of thousands, slipped into the pages of folklore. So there's a drawing here for you. Until a few years ago, all knowledge of the dodo came from secondary reports from the time that were not always reliable. A handful of remains and just one complete skeleton. Nobody knew that the dodo really looked like. Before cameras, newly discovered animals could only be drawn or painted. However, many of the artists had no knowledge of natural history and were more interested in producing colourful paintings of animals than recording their true likeness. Then, in 2005, a team of scientists unearthed thousands of dodo bones in some mud flats in Mauritius. The remains date back to over 4,000 years ago, when the island was suffering from a lengthy drought. The mud flats would have formed a freshwater oasis in an otherwise patched environment. It is thought that most of the animals, while trying to reach the slowly receding waters of the lake, became stuck and died of thirst and suffocation. However, clearly some dodos survived as they did not become extinct until much later on. The discovery is helping to rehabilitate the image of the much ridiculed bird. The very fact that the dodo was still alive and well on Mauritius 4,000 years after a drought that claimed the lives of thousands of animals is an indication of the bird's ability to survive. The remains are also helping scientists to find out more about the anatomy of the dodo. For example, that it was a much slimmer bird than the pictures suggest. As scientists learn more about the dodo and begin to see the bird in a new light, we are reminded that the dodo was badly misjudged. Maybe it is humans who should be judged, as we can have a devastating impact on the natural world. No other creature should be allowed to go the way of the dodo. So that's our text there. Now we're going to go on to the next slide. So this is our question. Look at the paragraph beginning for thousands of years. What does the word spat suggest about the island of Mauritius? Sorry, let me read that again. What does the word spat suggest about how the island of Mauritius was formed? So before we start, make sure that you have a dictionary next to you. So if there's any words that you are unclear of, that would be best to look up these words. So if you pause the video here and read the text and write down an answer and take your time. Thank you. Perfect. So you should have paused the video now and we will move on to the next question and we will answer them all at the end. So the next question, 25. Find and copy one word from page 10 that tells you that some of the animals on Mauritius were only found there. So again, we can see that we've got in bold writing, find and copy one word. So with those words being in bold, they are key to how to answer this question. So we need to look through the text and find and copy that word from the text. So not using our own words to describe it, copying it from the text. So what you should do is pause the video here and spend a bit of time just going through this question and finding the answer. So if you pause the video and answer this question, please. Perfect. So you should have paused that video, pause the video and answer that question. We're going to go on to the next question, which is 27. Look at the paragraph beginning one of the victims. What does the word invaders suggest about the humans arriving on Mauritius? So for this question, I'd really suggest using a dictionary. If you're not sure on what the word invaders means, then this would be a really great chance to further your knowledge and use a dictionary. And again, as we can see, it is giving us a clue of where to look at the very beginning, where it says, look at the paragraph beginning one of the victims. So that should give you a clue of where to read. So you don't have to read the whole paragraph. So again, if you pause the video here, and we can come back to this when we answer our question. So pause the video here and spend your time on this question. Thank you very much. Right, so you should have paused the video and answered number 27. We're going to go on to the next slide. So this question is number 29. The mudflats would have formed a freshwater oasis in an otherwise parched environment. Give the meaning of the word parched in this sentence. Now, obviously, this is just a practice for us, and you will have your dictionary next to you. So try and give this word, try and understand what this word means by reading the text first. If you are really stuck, you do have your dictionary next to you. But what you should do is try and read the text around this word and see what you can gather from it. So if you pause the video here and spend a bit of time working out what the parched environment, giving what the word parched means, that would be perfect. So pause the video here and answer this question. Thank you. Lovely. So you should have paused the video and answered this question. So we're going to go on to question 30. Look at the paragraph beginning then in 2005. Find and copy one word or group of words that shows that scientists were not sure what happened to most of the animals during the drought on Mauritius. So again, it's giving us a really nice clue of where to start our reading so we don't have to read the whole text. So look at the paragraph beginning then in 2005. So that's where we should start our reading. And again, as we can see in bold here, we've got the word find and copy one word or a group of words. So this is showing us how much we need to put and what we need to do. We need to find it in a text and copy what they've got down in the text, not going off our own description. So if you pause the video here and answer this question for me, please. Thank you. Perfect. So you should have paused the video and answered question 30. We're going to go on. What does rehabilitate the image of the dodo mean? So we've got 4 answers here and we've got to tick one of them as it clearly states here. So only ticking one of the boxes. Restore a painting of the dodo, rebuild the reputation of the dodo, repair a model of the dodo, and review accounts of the dodo. So the best thing to do here, if you don't know what rehabilitate means, you can get our dictionary, which is next to us, and read what that word means in the dictionary and understand the meaning of that word, which will be able to help you answer this question. So what you need to do is pause the video here, find either the word rehabilitate in the dictionary or use your own knowledge and answer the question by ticking only one. So pause the video here and answer this question for me, please, year 6. Right, you should have paused the video. I'm sure you're doing all so great right now. I'm really proud of you, and I'm sure that you're proud of yourself. So we're going to go on to the next bit, which is our answers. So question 23. What does the word spat suggest about how the island of Mauritius was formed? So we can have a lot of different answers here, as you can see here. So we will not, we will be working on what these answers up here say. These are the 2 key ones, but it will also accept some of these. So forcefulness, so spat makes you think that it was an incredible force that form the island. The island was pushed powerfully out of the ocean. And then suddenness, so speed and expectantness. The island appeared very quickly. The word spat sounds like it was something they didn't expect to happen. And also answers that we could accept that it was just randomly put there and it was not created in a precise way. So if you've put anything though, like repetition of how the island was formed or general description of how the volcano erupts, we don't accept that. So you need to be quite specific in what you put as your answer. Question 25 is down here. So find and copy one word from page 10 that tells you that some of the animals on Mauritius were only found there. And the word we were looking for was unique. So we know that unique means it's like individual, it is rare, it is its own thing. So we know that unique is a great way to describe that they were the only ones on the island. Then we're going to the next slide. Oh, and I forgot to say, remember to mark these answers with a different coloured pen. So that'd be great if you could do that for me, year 6. So question 27, look at the paragraph beginning, one of the victims. What does the word invaders suggest about the humans arriving on Mauritius? So again, we got a few different answers we could have had here. So we've got, they were violent / attackers or enemies. They were destroying everything. They were harming all kinds of animals. They took over, so they came and conquered. Because we know that invaders means going somewhere that they're planning to take over or planning to invade. That's where the word invaders comes from. And then we've also got here that they had no valid claim to the land that they wanted. They were not meant to be there and they had no right. They came without an invitation. So that would be a great answer for that. They came without an invitation. They're invading the island even though they weren't meant to be there. Now we're going to go on to question 29, which is just on the right-hand side. The mudflats would have formed a freshwater oasis in the otherwise parched environment. Give the meaning of the word parched in this sentence. So what does it mean? So we know that parched, you could be really thirsty and you really want to drink and you go, oh, I'm parched. Or so what we've got here is the answer is dry or barren of water. So references to the absence of water. So basically, if you've got anything that says like you are out of water, there's no water, that would be great. Also accept answers like it was burnt like a desert, the ground was baked. So referring to how hot it is there. Do not accept just the heat alone though. So we need you to talk about how the desert was burned or the ground was baked. So an actual description of some evidence. Now we're going to go on to question 30. Then, so find and copy one word or a group of words that shows the scientists were not sure what happened to most of the animals during the drought of Mauritius. So what we've got here, it says it is thought that. So this is basically showing us that. Sorry, give me 2 seconds. Year 6. What this is showing us here is that it is thought about. And then question 31, what does rehabilitate the image of the dodo mean? So we're going to tick 1 for this answer. So rehabilitate, if you looked up in your dictionary, you would find a great definition for it. And what rehabilitate means, the image of the dodo, is to rebuild its reputation because it was obviously given quite a silly reputation, quite a disrespectful reputation. So it's just a way to rebuild the dodo's reputation and actually describe how the dodo actually was. So I think that should be it till we get to reading session 2. So thank you so much, year 6. You've been great. I'm sure you've done really well. Remember to always upload this to Class Dojo or on Dojo. And if you need any help, myself, Miss Jobbins, any other teachers will always be available. So keep up the great work. I hope you're all okay at home and I hope everyone is safe. So take care and I will speak to you soon. Bye, year 6.